everyone, and welcome. I am Dr. Karen Mishra. I'm the Department Chair for Business Administration at Campbell University. We all know the challenge. The marketing landscape changes faster than we can update our syllabi. We're teaching students who live on TikTok and use ChatGPT daily. Yet many textbooks still treat digital media as an afterthought. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with Dr. Tracy Tuten. She has tackled this problem head on with her new textbook, Marketing Communications for a Digital Age, published by Sage. Tracy, welcome. You state right in the preface that this is a new kind of textbook. What compelled you to write this now?
Honestly, frustration. I felt that existing resources weren't reflecting the reality of modern practice. The landscape has changed for marketers. Digital isn't an add-on anymore. It is the landscape. I wanted a book that integrated digital principles, MarTech, and measurement throughout every single chapter rather than siloing them. We need to prepare students for the jobs that actually exist today.
A common misconception among students is that digital marketing means just social media. How does this book broaden that perspective?
That is a common misconception, and we broaden the scope by introducing the MarTech and AdTech stacks. Students need to understand the plumbing of the advertising industry, the data and technology that power ad campaigns. So in the book, I cover programmatic advertising and real-time bidding to show that digital marketing is also about data infrastructure and automated buying, not just posting content. I also emphasize commerce media and retail media networks, which are reshaping how brands reach shoppers on platforms like Amazon and Walmart.
That technical side can be intimidating. How do you make it accessible?
I break it down into the workflows. I explain programmatic advertising not as jargon, but as the automated buying and selling of media. I even tackle the dark side, ad fraud. We discuss bots, pixel stuffing, and domain spoofing. Students love this part because it feels like detective work. They need to know that billions of dollars are wasted on fraud annually, and as future marketers, they need to know how to combat it.
Let's talk about structure. How do we teach the fundamentals when the channels keep changing every semester?
The key is to anchor digital tools in foundational theory. And to do this, I leverage the PESO model, paid, earned, shared, and owned media. It's the backbone of the book. We don't just list channels, I show how they integrate. For example, we can look at how a paid ad drives traffic to a website, which is owned media, which gets picked up by the press, earned media, and then discussed on social, shared media.
I also appreciate that you haven't abandoned the fundamentals. You spend a lot of time on the STP model.
Absolutely. Segmentation, targeting, and positioning are still the holy trinity of marketing strategy. But I update it. I talk about behavioral targeting and contextual targeting using digital signals.
Speaking of shared media and data, how do you address the tension between targeting and consumer privacy?
This is a critical ethical discussion. We teach targeting strategies like behavioral targeting, but we pair them with the ethical implications. We discuss the move away from third-party cookies towards first-party data strategies and the rise of walled gardens. And the book introduces frameworks for protecting consumer welfare, focusing on transparency and consent, and ensuring students understand that just because you can target a consumer doesn't always mean you should.
I want to ask a question that I know my students will love. How do you handle influencer marketing? Is it treated as a serious discipline?
It is treated as a major paid media strategy. We move beyond just celebrities to discuss micro influencers and nano influencers who often have higher engagement rates because they are viewed as people like me. We also cover the social brand framework and the specific roles a brand can play, like the master of ceremony or the sage.
Another topic students are very aware of is cancel culture. Does the book address the risks of modern marketing?
In the book, I talk about psychological reactance theory, which explains why people resist when they feel their freedom of choice is threatened by intrusive ads. And we also look at marketing failures like the recent Bumble campaign.
Oh, you mean the celibacy billboards?
Exactly. Bumble tried to be edgy about celibacy and it backfired. I used that case study to teach congruence theory, the idea that your message must align with your brand values. It's a great lesson that being bold doesn't mean ignoring your core audience's values.
Let's talk about the fun stuff, the creative. You have some incredible case studies in here. I was laughing reading about the Elf Cosmetics campaign.
The Cosmetic Criminals campaign, I love that one. It's a perfect example of a transmedia campaign. They created a true crime parody to sell makeup, launching it in movie theaters before Mean Girls aired, but also on YouTube and Amazon Freevee. It shows students that media planning isn't just about TV spots, it's about cultural moments.
And you have the Duolingo case study, which I think every student will recognize.
The Living with Lily campaign. I use it to teach character development and storytelling. It shows how a brand mascot can become an influencer in her own right on TikTok. There are cases that open and close every chapter in the book to ensure the theory is grounded in real world application.
Moving to the quantitative side, how do we teach students to measure success beyond vanity metrics like likes and shares?
In the book, I teach a measurement hierarchy. It begins with the strategic level, then business, campaign, and on to tactical levels. And the book introduces concepts like multi touch attribution and marketing mix modeling to show how different channels contribute to sales over time. I also focus on attention metrics like dwell time rather than just impressions. We want students to value the quality of engagement over sheer volume.
And you tie this into the messy middle of the buyer journey.
Yes, the linear funnel is useful, but the reality is the messy middle. That's the loop of exploration and evaluation that buyers experience between the time a purchase is triggered and the actual purchase. So we're teaching students how to map Marcom's strategy to that complex journey.
This brings me to a question I know every student asks. What kind of job can I get with this degree? How does this book help students navigate the career landscape?
This is a major focus. The industry is huge. And so we break down specific roles so that students can find their fit. For example, we differentiate between the creative path and the media path.
Could you give us a teaser of those differences for the student who loves data versus the student who loves art?
Sure. For the data-driven student, we look at media planners and buyers. These are the architects of a campaign. They analyze audience consumption habits and they negotiate media rates. They need strong analytical skills to manage budgets and optimize ROI. But for the artistic student, we explore the creative team and talk about copywriters who craft the brand's voice and art directors who handle the visual concepts. And we cover newer roles like creative technologists who blend coding with design.
And what about the students who are good at relationships?
That's account management. They are the bridge between the client and the agency. They need project management skills and strategic thinking to keep the client happy and the campaign on track. And we also discuss the massive rise of in-house agencies where students can work directly for a brand like Apple or Spotify rather than for an external firm.
Tracy, for the professors who are listening, what resources are available to help them transition to this new text?
We have made it turnkey. There is a comprehensive teaching guide with case study notes, assignment suggestions, and even YouTube playlists for every chapter. There are also PowerPoints with key visuals like the MarTech stack diagrams, and there are test banks that can integrate into LMS platforms.
Tracy, if you had to summarize the core philosophy of marketing communications for a digital age in one sentence, what would it be?
It bridges the gap between the art of storytelling and the science of data. It's designed to help students think strategically, act creatively, and use technology to execute.
It really is a comprehensive resource that bridges the art of storytelling with the science of data. Thank you so much for joining us, Tracy.
Thank you, Karen. I hope your students enjoy the book.
To our listeners, you can request a review copy from Sage Publications. Thank you for joining us.